Ladies and gentlemen, this is Joe's Classic Video Games at a remote location. I'm here at my house. Now, it's dark, so you can't see this too good, but my old truck has been giving me some problems. I haven't explained this on our channel too much, but I've actually got two of these trucks. This is an 83 Silverado. I've actually got an 86 GMC Sierra, which is basically the same thing, but a little newer one. The 86 has a lift gate on it, and I've been trying to get it fixed up so I can start driving it because I can move arcade games with it. But I drive this 83, and I like these older vehicles, so I prefer these. But I have been trying to get my other one repaired, completely rebuilt pretty much, so that I can take this one and have it rebuilt. Hasn't happened yet, right? So for about a year now, a couple different people have been messing with my other truck while this one's deteriorating. So what I've been waiting for the other one to get fixed up so that I can stop driving this one and have the engine replaced in this one. And we've almost got the other one ready, but not quite, right? So that leaves me where this one, I've been having some issues with it where the power steering pump's leaking and the water pump is leaking, and it's been leaking for a while. So I've been trying to put off replacing it just because I've got another truck that's completely rebuilt. We just don't have it ready to drive yet, right? I haven't been able to get it back yet. So I'm to the point where I have to replace the water pump on an engine that I'm about to replace, right? So that's what we're going to do tonight. So I figured, hey, why not film some of it? So I'm out here in my front yard in the driveway. I've got my boom box set up so I can listen to some good music here while I work on it. But we're going to try to swap this water pump in this thing. I just drove this thing home, so it's still warm out. I mean, the engine's still hot. So what I'm going to try to do is tonight, while it's cooler out, you know, even though it's dark, swap it, and then in the morning I can put coolant in it and before I head to work. So I'm trying to do it in one evening so I don't have to take off a day of work to work on my water pump, or take it somewhere and have them work on my water pump. So we're starting with this. This is a 1983 C10 Silverado. It's got a 350 engine in it, I believe. It might be a 305, but I think it's a 350. Some of these trucks came with 305s though, but it doesn't really matter. They're kind of the same thing. So I have to get to the water pump, which luckily is right on the front of the engine here at the top. But the first thing I've got to do is take this fan shroud off. This fan shroud is right in the way, and the air conditioning compressor has a line that goes right over the top of it. So I'm going to try to slide that thing out that way by taking the top radiator hose off. If I take that top radiator hose off of there and I move this out of the way, I should be able to slide the top of the fan shroud off, and that will expose the fan and the water pump that the fan is mounted to. But before I do all that, I'm going to make sure I got the right water pump. So I'm going to go grab that, and we'll see if it looks like it's the right one. All right, folks. So I do have a water pump. I've been driving around with this thing for a while because, like I said, I'm about to have the engine rebuilt. So I was trying to not put a new water pump on an engine I'm about to rebuild, but it's to the point where it's leaking so much I pretty much have to. But so I got the water pump. I got a whole bunch of stuff over here. Got a new bottom water hose. So I think we're going to be good. Yeah, let's do this. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to take that top radiator hose loose, and I'm going to take this fan shroud loose. Let's get into it. Okay, folks. Fan shroud has been removed. Now, by the way, I am not a mechanic, but all of this stuff is just step after step after step. You know what I mean? All you have to do is do the steps in order. I'm seeing leaking over there, but I believe that's from the AC unit. Sure looks like it. We'll keep watching that to make sure. So what's going on is the water pump right behind it there has a weep hole, and it's leaking out the weep hole. What do you know about that? Okay, so we got the top of the fan shroud off. That exposes the fan, which is freewheeling. Since the last time I messed on this, I was talking before, I couldn't remember what this is called. This is the clutch. So I don't know if the, I guess if that's freewheeling, that's right. That's how it should be. Okay, so we need to get that clutch off of there. So the first thing I'm going to do is, there are 4 little nuts right there. So we'll try that. Like I said, this is not an instructional video, people. You're just hanging out with me while I work on this thing. And I can't help the music that's playing. This is not my choice, but it's what they're playing. We're rocking the suburbs tonight, people. All right, let me get a wrench and I'll see if I can get that clutch off of there. All right, folks, fans on. Nothing to it but to do it. I don't know if y'all know that. There's nothing to it but to do it. Okay, so now I need to loosen all the fan belts so I can get the pulley off of there. Maybe should have done that first, but so to do that I have to loosen the alternator, and eventually I'm gonna have to unbolt it from the water pump. So I'm gonna go ahead and take the ground strap off the battery, so that I don't have to worry about shorting out the stud on the back of the alternator to something metal and burning up my car with all this oil on it. So I'll disconnect the battery, and then I will I'll loosen the power steering pump, the air conditioner, and the alternator, which is just various assorted bolts, you know, and get it where I can get those fan belts off. What y'all know about Jerry Butler? Alright, we're getting farther along. So I got the alternator all the way over there to the left out of the way. I got the pulley off. I got the 2 fan belts off. I still got to get the power steering one off. But I wanted to show you something. This is the type of thing that upsets rednecks. Okay, this is a 1983 Chevy. So it's all SAE bolts. So, you know, I know a lot of you are probably watching from outside of the country. We never used metric when we were younger because nothing had metric, right? So this old truck, you need a SAE tool set because it's 1/2 inch, 9/16, all that stuff. And I'm not arguing which one's better. I mean, we all know SAE's better, so there's no reason to argue it. But I'm just saying, this is the type of stuff that really pisses us off. The alternator at some point was replaced, and so they put, this comes with it, and it's a 14mm bolt. So out of everything on the front of the engine, there's one that you can't get right because you need a 1 metric socket. Now I've got all the sockets. I got 4 sets of metric sockets, but it's just stuff like that. Like, if you're designing it for a freaking old ass truck, put SAE on it. Anyway, enough of my rant. I guess it probably fits like everything up to 2005, so they just make it with an SAE bolt. At least they gave me the bolt that threads into it, so that's good. Let's look at the bright side, shall we? Speaking of bright side, so now you can see just how bad this leak is, and there's oil leaking too. And once again, I'm going to have this engine rebuilt, but I can't keep driving it like this. See the water dripping off of the bottom hose down there? Some of that is pouring out of the back of the water pump, and some of that, I think the hose may be screwed up now. So, because it's been getting worse, so I can't keep driving it like this. You can also see how bad the power steering pump is. So I'm trying to get this where we can go ahead and rebuild everything on it. And that's what's happened on my other truck. New brakes, new rebuilt engine, new flywheel, everything on, you know, all the accessories are new. New power steering pump. I'm going to do new air conditioning whenever I get it back. New alternator, new starter, new battery, new shocks all around, new whole front end, tie rod ends and everything. New brake booster, new brake master cylinder. So I've completely rebuilt it, but we're having a problem where it keeps eating starters. So we're trying to narrow that down. And except for that, I'd be driving that one, and I could drive this one down and have the engine swapped in it and have them start building this one. But not quite there yet, folks. So we got to fix this one so that it can limp along a little longer. But I've about got everything off of it. There is a bracket over here that holds the power steering on. So I'm going to take that loose because it slides in front of the bolt. There's 2 bolts on each side that hold the water pump on the truck. And that bracket is in front of one of the bolts, so it has to be taken off, but that's no big deal. But after that, it's just take the bottom radiator hose loose, and I've got a new one of those too. So if it's the right one, hopefully, and we can get this thing to stop leaking water, at least coolant, and then we'll just have the AC leak. I'm just kidding, folks. That's just condensation. We'll still have the condensation leak, which every truck has that. Every car has that. We'll still have the power steering leak, and the oil leak. But with all of this coolant that just constantly leaks out, you can't even see where any of the oil leaks are. So, well, that's where I'm at so far. All right, so I'm going to mess with the power steering pump, get it off of there, get that last hose, that last belt off, and then that should expose my 4 bolts, so I can take the to this video that the sound cuts out and it's just dead. That's because I was playing a song and they told me I couldn't. So since I think that's about the 6th one I played, they're going to do that. Okay, so I got the hose loose. I caught most of the water, but not all of it. I'll rinse all that out of the driveway so we don't get any little stray animals having trouble with that antifreeze. You know, that's dangerous, people. You gotta be careful with that. And I took the power steering pump loose. So now I'm down to, there are 4 bolts on these suckers. 2 on the right, 2 on the left. Ain't no thing now, people. It's a 9/16. I done checked. I need an extension. And then guess what? I'll have the water pump off. It's been about an hour and 15 minutes. And I'm slow. I work on stuff slow, people. I don't know if I've mentioned that in my arcade videos before, but I take my time, right? No reason to get all upset about having something done real quick. Hell, I got all night. It's not even midnight yet. All right, so I'm gonna go get the 9/16 and a extension. All right, folks, I got the water pump off, no problem. 4 bolts came right out. Now I got to clean all this crap up. And there's seal. They didn't use any gaskets. They just used sealant, which is probably all right. RTV, which I've got some. But this thing's so filthy, man. I think what I want to do, I'm gonna flush it anyway. So I think what I'm gonna do is use some cleaner on the front of the engine. You clean that up a little bit. I guess I could temporarily bolt the water pump back on there to cover up those 2 intakes on the block there. But I got to see if I can get any of this crap off of here. I mean, while I got the opportunity. I wish I could tell where the leak was coming from. Since it's way up here, you would think that it would pretty much have to be coming from the heads, or the valve covers actually. So I don't know. Also, I don't know if that timing thing on the timing timing chain cover, I don't know if that's right. It almost looks like it's bent or something. That's like the timing gauge, but who knows. All right, so I'm gonna try to clean it up a little bit. Here's the water pump. Doesn't really look all that old. It was leaking from the weep hole down on the bottom, so I guess the inside screwed up somehow. Alright, so that's all. The new one awaits. I'm gonna see if I can clean this up any before I start putting it all back together. I definitely have to get the mounting surface flat and get all that RTV off of there that's stuck on there right now. So let me see how much better I can get it. All right, folks, so it's not quite midnight. All I can hear are crickets, my water hose rinsing off the driveway, and fireworks in the distance. So I'm gonna put the new water pump on. So here's the deal, people. Like I said, this is not an instructional video. So I know that there are 50 different ways that people like to do this. And that's cool with me. You can do it the way you like to do it. And if I do it the wrong way, you can just delete this video, right? But the way I'm going to do it, the way I've always done it, on the few that I have done, is this is a 350. So it's got two little gaskets that go on the side. There's only one thing you really have to worry about on a 350 that's different. So on most engines, you just have to make sure you get the mounting surfaces clean, which I did. I scraped them with a little flat screwdriver and got every little piece of the old sealant and gasket off of there, so they're nice and flat, and you can run your hand over it and you don't feel anything. And then the other thing that you have to worry about, though, is on a 350 in particular, that bottom right barrel bolt right there actually goes into the water, into the coolant. I don't know if you can see that or not, but that bottom one goes into the coolant. So you'll have problems where it leaks around that bolt. That might have been part of my leak that I was having anyway. So you're supposed to put thread sealant on it. I'm going to put some RTV on it. So people do it 10 different ways. There's a million different ways to do it. I'm not telling you which way is right or wrong. I'm just telling you how I'm about to do it. So I'm going to put a little bit of RTV, just a tiny bit. You don't want to put a ton because it'll break off and get stuck in the water pump or somewhere bad inside the engine. I'm going to put a little tiny bit of RTV on one side of the gasket, slide it on the water pump with the bolts in it, and then I'm going to put a little bit of RTV on the block too, where it's going to mount, just a little bit. Or I guess I'll put it on the other side of the gasket, just to kind of hold it all in place while you slide the bolts in. And then I'm going to put a lot of RTV on that bottom right bolt on the driver's bottom. On the driver's side, on the bottom, that one actually goes into the water jet, sits in water. So I'll throw those on, and then I'll come back and show you how it looks mounted up. Oh, and I cleaned it as good as I could. I didn't hit it with a wire brush or anything, but I at least got a lot of the loose grease off of it. All right, folks, I got it mounted on. And on this particular model, there's a port right here that you don't use. I guess a bypass hose might have went in there or something, or it could be that the heater hose goes to it on some models, but there's a plug on the old one, so I'm going to take that out with a wrench and thread it into there, and then that'll be it for the actual water pump part. I put the hose on, the new hose, and from there it's just mounting all the accoutrements back on. So I imagine everybody knows this trick, but these you have to change these studs too, which means you have to pull them out. And so if you grab them with pliers, you screw up the threads, but what you can do is take two of the nuts and put them on one bolt, and then use two wrenches to tighten them to each other. And then once you do that, I can't do it right now with one hand, but if you use like the wrench or something to hold the other part from spinning, if you loosen the bottom one, since it's tightened to the top one, it can't come off the bolt. So what it does is it pulls the stud out. It's probably an easier way to do it, but that's the way I do it. All right, folks, it's 12:42. Got the power steering pump mounted back where she goes. Put a new belt on it because I had one. Why not? I got the studs back in the water pump. All right. I put the little extra plug in the water pump. That was a 7/8 socket, no big deal. So I got the power steering one on. So next I'm ready for my, it's time to do the fan. Yeah, time to do the pulley. And you kind of need to do the fan whenever you do the pulley so it holds the pulley on. So let's do that next. All right, folks, it's 1 o'clock in the morning. I got the alternator bracket back on, hooked the wire off of it back onto the choke. There's a ground wire that went on the frame up there. Put my 14mm bolt back in. Got the pulley and the fan on, but I haven't tightened them yet. Basically, this thing freewheels. Water pump freewheels. And the clutch will freewheel too. So you got a double freewheel situation going on here. So you have to put a belt on so that it doesn't move. About time to turn off the water hose, I think. Driveway is nice and clean. So all I've got left to do is put the two belts on and tension them, and then tighten up the nuts on the fan. Put the fan shroud back on, and put this top radiator hose back on. I haven't put any of the coolant in yet because that RTV, you're better if you let that stuff dry a little bit. So I'll do that in the morning, but tonight though I'd like to get everything done except it just needs coolant, so I'm gonna keep working on it. So I'm gonna throw the two fan belts on it and get those adjusted, and then we can tighten up the fan. Alright, so we got it all back together except for the fan shroud. I need to get a new fan belt for the alternator. The other two are new. That one's looking pretty rough, but it should last me till tomorrow. Right? So I've got everything back on. The only thing that I still need to do, I'll put the battery thing back on. The only thing I still need to do is slide the fan shroud in and then hook the top radiator hose back up. So I'm gonna do that real quick. And then tomorrow all I need to do is fill it up with coolant. Alright, so we got the fan shroud back on. Everything's back how it was. Took me about 4 hours. That's not bad. So we'll put coolant in it tomorrow and see if it pours out all over the ground. Alright folks, we got the coolant back in it. Check it out. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Alright, so I put some coolant in it, and I'm gonna let it run for just a few minutes so it can cycle through a little bit, and then I can put some more in it, because you know, whenever it's empty, it'll get a lot of it out of the radiator after you turn it on the first time and you put it in the block and everything. It's got a crazy exhaust leak too. Whoever did this engine, they put headers on it. I wish they wouldn't have done that. But. All right, so I'm gonna turn it off and see if I can top it back off again, and then I'm gonna drive it to work. Oh, I need a bolt for there. All right, folks. Well, I've topped it off. There doesn't seem to be any leaks. I think we're good. So I'll get it on the road and see if it gets me where I'm going. Hopefully. So leave your comments below. Let us know what you think. Make sure to give us a thumbs up for filming it for you. Hope you enjoyed it. I know I did. Boy, there's nothing quite like putting on a new water pump. Isn't that fun? So leave your comments below. Let us know what you think. I do not have the coronavirus, so I just needed to clear my throat. I shouldn't have said that word. If you say that word, they screw up your videos. I do not have anything wrong with me, folks. I just needed to clear my throat. Just leave your comments below. Let us know what you think. Like I said, this is not an instructional video. I'm not trying to show somebody how to replace a water pump, because I obviously am no expert. But I thought you might want to just hang out and watch me swap the damn thing. It's a sweet truck. I'd like to get it where it's running good. If I can ever get my other one back, I'll film a bunch of videos of it too. Hopefully soon. They keep telling me soon, but I don't know if I can keep believing soon when it hasn't been soon for so long, right? Alright, so that's it. Leave your comments below. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Give us a thumbs up for filming it for you. And we try to answer all the comments. We will see you on the next video.